Are people like using their best breaks for the
Hi
Cloud
everyone,
Guardian?
Ash here,
Maybe that's a good
and
spot.
this is going to be a tutorial on running ranged DPS with a little bit of support on Chronomancer
Yeah.
for Vale
I switched
Guardian
like my
in the
F3
Spirit
for
Vale
Vale, and
raid
maybe play
wing of Guild
resurrect
Wars
off that.
2. So just for starters, I run Greatsword of course for ranged, and for melee I run Sword Shield. Keep in mind you are probably the main, if not only, boon stripper, so during the split phase to the Blue Guardian, you're very much needed. So I am running Domination, Inspiration, and Chronomancer, of course, elite for the elite spec. So when the fight starts, once Vale Guardian is engaged, your first step is going to be using your Greatsword 2 skill, followed by your 4. And then at the moment, I'm just auto-attacking, and once the first green circle comes up, I generally call them for our group, so you'll hear me kind of yelling green here and there. But once that green circle comes up, you should be able to use your Greatsword 2 skill again, followed by Continuum Split, and you want to really make sure you get your Time Warp and your Signet of Inspiration off as quick as possible, as well as your other 2 wells, so you can transfer your boons. And have that ready to transfer boons again. So the way that my build works also is when I use my Greatsword 1 skill as well as my clones, that helps generate some might, which helps for transferring that to the other party members aside from the might you're already getting from the Revenants and a PS Warrior. So after you've used everything, you can use it a second time. I will first start by summoning a phantasm, and then I'll use that Signet of Inspiration whenever I can. I try to use that combo as much as possible because in the build I use, whenever I summon a phantasm, I give myself a regeneration, and then I can transfer that to my allies. So then it's pretty much just auto-attacking and using your shatters whenever you can, as those are going to give a lot of your DPS. Keep in mind, Chronomancer is not the biggest class for DPS. You're really here for support for transferring boons. Once Blue Guardian comes up during the split, if your DPS is high enough, you should really only need to boon strip once or twice. I like to have it myself traded so that my shatters will also remove a boon, just in the off chance that when he spawns his green circle, if you, as assuming you already have a clone or phantasm on him, you can shatter them and remove that boon even if you're far away. So, or also if you're not using your sword auto attack, for instance, if you're in the middle of your sword 2 skill, that'll also get in the way of your boon strip with your sword auto attack. Your shield 4 skill is great for the Green Guardian for blocking that teleport. And assuming you do block it, once this next teleport comes up, you can use your shield 4 again for that second part, since you successfully blocked an attack. So that comes very much in handy, and that's also something to keep in mind if you're interested in chrono tanking. So once Vale Guardian comes back up after the split's over, as soon as Vale becomes vulnerable, you're going to do your Greatsword 2, followed by your 4 skill. And whenever you remember, I try to cast my healing well to give myself a little bit of alacrity, as well as the people in the circle group. So I try to cast that right on the green circle. When it comes to casting your wells or like your Greatsword 3 skill, we want to try to cast it ahead of Vale Guardian. It's kind of difficult sometimes, like I miss a lot. But when it comes to like your time warps, sometimes you'll have a tank who can pay attention. If they see where the time warp is, they can try to keep Vale Guardian there. But that also sometimes can kind of mess with timing, so it really depends on the tank and their particular style. Another thing to keep in mind, I do use my F1 Shatter quite a bit, but I also use my F3 for break bar support. Sometimes you need that extra bit of support. The other skill is that F4 Distortion, and I'm traded so that I transfer my Distortion also to people nearby, and that really comes in handy on occasion if you get a green circle in one of those lit up areas of pain, or if you have a bunch of seekers or even teleports. You'll see that later. We had like a bunch of teleports spawn on the green circle, but I was able to keep everyone alive. So here, I casted a time warp ahead of everyone. Wasn't really in the best spot. I thought it was good, but the tank ran right through it. But honestly, you can kind of use that to your advantage then, and you can run into that time warp and give yourself that super speed. If you have your Signet of Inspiration up, you can always try to transfer that boon to your allies.
Save your best CCs for
Also, if you can, go and get those speed boost mushrooms, but don't go too out of your way because you don't want to be late to a green circle. So this phase is just like the first split, so you're going to be boon stripping. If your DPS is good enough, also, you should really only have to go to one green circle, and hopefully you can have the blue guardian down before the second green circle goes off. This was a good demonstration of using your shield skill with the Green Guardian. Your shield 5 is also great for break bar. I generally use it for the Blue Guardian's break bar. Sometimes it'll be up in time for the Green Guardians, but usually our DPS is too high where it doesn't come up in time. And in that case, I would use my Great Sword knockback. Save your F3 for Veil Guardian, since especially in this last phase, you need to have the quickest break bar that you possibly can. So again, you're going to use your Great Sword 2 and 4 as soon as Veil Guardian comes up and is vulnerable, and you're going to get to that green circle and be ready to hit break bar. This last phase is extremely important that you break his bar very quickly, as instead of one area being lit up, it's now going to be 2 areas of the arena. So yeah, you're going to keep on going in the circle. Soon you'll see where I have to use my distortion. This is really where you need to push the DPS. So if you can get your time warp down in a good spot, it's really where it can come in handy. This was a good example of casting that well ahead of the Veil Guardian, ahead of the group, so that the melee group can get that alacrity, and you're also causing a little bit more damage to VG. Also, keep in mind his teleports can be kind of random in this last phase, so this is really where it's good to have your distortion up, and in case you need to save your group for like I said earlier, for either a green circle in a lit up area, or if those teleports come up on the green circle. And that can, if they come up on the green circle, that can be especially problematic because he can teleport people right before that green circle goes off. So about this last phase, sometimes I actually completely forget about my healing well, because you end up being more concerned with making sure you're moving properly and in the circle. So right here is where I use my distortion, kept everyone alive, and also make sure you announce it, because some people may not realize that you have that distortion ability. So that will also keep them from dodging out of the circle, which if that happens, you may not have that 4th person in the green circle, and then everyone wipes because there's no 4 people. You don't have 4 people in there. Time warp really does come in handy in this last phase, because you can push the DPS. As you saw, I was able to cast it, and then boom, we killed him with about 20 seconds to spare. So that is my tutorial. If you have any questions, post any comments below, anything you think I should try. I should also mention the food I am running is the Bountiful Sharpening Stone for boon duration, and then Feasted Truffle Steak, so I have some extra power and precision, or ferocity. Sorry, I forget the stats, but I will post my actual build in the description below. Let me know what you think.